my name is Deb Weiss-Gelmi. This is a level 1 yoga class. We will be using yoga blocks today, but if you don't have yoga blocks, you can use something like a footstool or a stack of a couple solid books. So we'll begin in Tadasana, which means mountain pose. Press through your inner heel, big toe mound. Press the front thighs back slightly, the middle buttock forward slightly, and then lift the side chest up. Take your shoulders away from your ears. Press through or lengthen through your fingers toward the floor. Soften your face. And then take your arms out in front of you for Sirsasana. Straighten the arms. And as you take your arms up and overhead, move your inner upper arm toward the wall behind you. Lengthen up through those wrists, but take your shoulders away from your ears. Sirsasana. Palms spread wide, facing each other. Press through your inner heel, big toe mound, and then lengthen those wrists up away from the feet. Shoulders away from the ears. Bring the arms back down. And then Badanguliasana. Clasp your fingers together. Take your palms away from you. Draw your upper arms toward each other. And then keeping those shoulders away from the ears, take your arms or your hands and arms up overhead. Draw those outer arms toward each other. Shoulders away from the ears, palms pressing up toward the ceiling. And remember your weight in your feet. Press through the inner heel, big toe mound, and open up that chest. Soften the face. And then we'll switch the clasp of our hands. So bring your arms down, and then your front thumb goes behind your other thumb, and each of the fingers go behind the other fingers. Take the palms away. In your Tadasana, take the arms back up overhead. Press through the palms. Soften the face. Notice if you're rocking your feet at all. Press through the inner heel, big toe mound. Lift those wrists up. Press the palms away. And then release your clasp and bring your arms back down. The next pose is some arm work at the wall. So for this beginning arm work, you'll stand an arm's length away from the wall and then flow into the hand, the thumb mound, the pointer finger mound. Your fingers point toward the wall behind you. And then your inner elbow goes gently toward the ceiling and your inner upper arm goes gently toward the ceiling. And as you lift up, you'll see my shoulder goes up. So I want to take my shoulder down. So I want to have this action where I'm moving from the back armpit to the front armpit to take that shoulder down. So sometimes it's helpful to do your own adjustment with your opposite arm where you take the armpit so you can have room to take that shoulder down. It's like you're getting out of your own way. So all of this front arm is lifting up gently and the shoulder is flowing down toward the floor. So the work that we're doing in this sequence today is all about the back armpit toward the front armpit. So this rotation action from the back armpit to the front armpit and up and over the shoulder and back down. Okay, so we'll switch to the other arm, and I'm going to show you the back view for the second arm. So you'll turn around. You have to take your video with you. Okay, so now the fingers point. It's all the same thing, but you're seeing it from the back. So now my fingers point behind me. I flow into the palm of the hand, the pointer finger mound, the thumb mound, and I lift gently that inner elbow and lift gently the inner upper arm. And then I want to take that shoulder down. So I take my hand in there to help the awareness and understanding of moving from the back armpit to the front armpit, up and over the shoulder and down. So I use my arm on the side rib cage, lift up, back armpit to front armpit, lifting that upper arm up and then taking that shoulder down. So this is the action we're working on today. So back armpit to front armpit, shoulder down. And then we'll release that arm. So our next pose is called Utthita Trikonasana. And so we're going to take that arm work that we did at the wall and put it into all of our other poses coming up. So our first one, Utthita Trikonasana. Jump or step your feet wide. Turn your feet to the right. Your front heel lines up with the back arch. Press through the outer edge of the back foot and the big toe mound in the front foot. Lift your side chest up. And now imagine you have your hands on the wall and you're moving the back armpit to the front armpit to take the shoulders down. And then extend those fingers out for this pose and then tip to your right side. Pressing through that big toe mound in the front foot. Continue pressing through the outer edge of the back foot. Hand on the hip for a moment. Roll the chest open. Lengthen the tailbone away from the crown of the head. And then shoulders away from the ears. So that back armpit to front armpit chest, our focus for today. And then extend the top arm up. And if there's any tension in your neck, then just look forward. And then to come out, press through the outer edge of the back foot, toes forward, and to the other side. Press through the outer edge of the back foot, the big toe mound in the front foot, shoulders away from the ears, lifting the front armpit chest up, and tip over the right side. You can put your hand onto the block, or you can just put your hand onto your shin. And then spread the arms wide. And then just as when we were at the wall, back armpit to front armpit, shoulders away from the ears, opening up that chest. Top hand on the hip for a moment to roll the chest up toward the ceiling. Shoulders away from the ears, and then extend that arm back up, looking up to the fingertips. Any tension, just look forward. If there's any tension in your neck, just look forward. And then to come out, press through the outer edge of the back foot, toes forward, fingertips together, and jump or step back to Tadasana. So our next pose, Virabhadrasana 2, Warrior 2. Jump or step your feet wide. Turn your feet to the right. Again, press through the outer edge of the back foot. Soften the inner thigh of the right leg. Have the knee over the heel. And spread the arms. And then, of course, the theme of today, moving from the back armpit to the front armpit, shoulders away from the ears. Keep that inner thigh soft. We're gripping that outer hip and the back and the hip of the back leg as well, but softening the inner thigh. You can look over the right fingertips. Soften your face. And then to come out of the pose, the top thigh, that front leg, goes from the inside out to straighten the leg, toes forward, and to the other side. Press through the outer edge of the back foot, soften the inner thigh of the front leg, big toe mound, pressing, knee right over heel, spread the arms wide, shoulders away from the ears, lifting that front armpit chest up, and then look over your left fingertips. And then to come out, that bent leg, top thigh moves from the inside out, toes forward, fingertips together, and jump or step back to Tadasana. So our next pose, Parshvakonasana, you'll want to have a block or that footstool or whatever you have that can support your hand when it goes down. Parshvakonasana. So we'll jump or step your feet wide. Turn your feet to the right. This pose starts out just like the last one. So soften the inner thigh to bend that leg. This thigh is moving from the inside out. And then we take the hand down to the floor or the block. Top hand on the hip for a moment. So now before you move, think of the action that we were taking at the wall with the back armpit to the front armpit and shoulders away from the ears. on both sides, back armpit to front armpit, shoulders down the back, and then extend the top arm up. Press through the outer edge of the back foot, turn your shoulder, palm facing overhead, and then extend that arm up and over, taking those side ribs up with your arm and pressing through the outer edge of the back foot, trying to keep that inner thigh soft. And then look up to that inner arm. If there's any tension in the neck, then just look forward. Creating a lengthening from the wrist away from that, pressing down to the outer edge of that back foot in the back. And then to come out, press down in that outer edge of the back foot to come up to Virabhadrasana 2. And then to straighten the leg, take that thigh from the inside out to straighten the leg. Toes forward and to the other side. So we start out in Virabhadrasana 2. The knee is right over the heel, softening that inner thigh. Thigh moving from the front to back or the inside out. And then your hand down to the block or the floor, top hand on the hip for a moment. Think of the back armpit to front armpit, up and over, shoulders away from the ears as part of that rotation. And then press through the outer edge of that back foot, extend your arm up, rotate the palm overhead, and then extend that arm up, lengthening, taking your whole side rib cage with your arm up and pressing through the outer edge of that back foot. Soften the inner thigh of the front leg, and then look to that inner arm. The inner arm, the inner upper arm going toward the wall behind you. And then to come out, press through the outer edge of the back foot, up to Virabhadrasana 2. And then straighten that leg by taking that top thigh from the inside out, toes forward, fingertips together, and jump or step back to mountain pose, Tadasana. This next pose is called Ardha Chandrasana, half moon pose. So if you have a wall behind you, it would be very helpful. Or if you're standing in front of a couch, the couch can help as well if you were to fall back. It's okay to tip out of the pose and come out of it and then get right back in. So we start out in Utthita Trikonasana. Take your feet wide. Turn your feet to the right. Now this right foot will not move. It's staying pointed toward the wall to your right. And then we tip down, and then if you are using a block, you can have the block with you. Top hand on the hip for a moment. So this is our Utthita Trikonasana. Then we bend the right leg, step the back leg up, and lift that back leg up for Ardha Chandrasana. And then you can extend your top arm up. If you're against the wall, you can lean the back of the hand against the wall. So I press through the inner heel and big toe mound of the standing leg, and I extend through the inner heel and big toe mound of the lifted leg. Now this is where the wall comes in handy. So we're trying to do that back armpit to front armpit movement in all of our poses today. So back armpit to front armpit, so you're taking your shoulders down toward your back shoulders down toward your feet, toward your lifted foot. So moving from the back armpit to the front armpit. If you're balancing, then it's just going to be more play with the balance. And then to come out, I step way back to try to get back to that triangle pose. Open the arms up, and then press through the outer edge of the back foot, toes forward, and to the other side. So now you can set that block down. I ended up with 2 blocks here. So I set this block down for my Ardha Chandrasana. I tip to the side, top hand on the hip for a moment, open the chest, back armpit to front armpit before you even go. Now this left foot is going to stay right here. It won't move at all. But the other parts of us move around that foot. So we bend the left leg, step the back leg up, move that block under the shoulder, and lift up. So I extend through my inner heel, big toe mound, and then the arms straight up on that wall. Again, if you're balancing, it's going to be a bit different because you're going to be working mostly on the balance. But if you are supported, you can move from that back armpit to the front armpit, shoulders away from the ears, extend through the inner heel, big toe mound of both legs, and spread those arms wide. And then to come out, step way back. You can use the arm on the wall for guidance. Step way back for Utthita Trikonasana. Spread the arms wide, press to the outer edge of the back foot to come out. Toes forward, fingertips together, and jump or step back to mountain pose. Now if you practice Sirsasana, this is where you would add this in. Pause the video, do your headstand, and come back and join us with our next pose, which is Shalabhasana. So for the next few poses, we'll lie down on the mat, face first. And we're going to do what we call prone back bends. So these are back bends that we have where we're lying on our front body. Okay, so the movement that we've been doing, that back armpit to front armpit action, that action is going to be used in these poses. So locust is the first pose. So you'll lie down on your front, rest your forehead on the mat, palms face the ceiling next to your thighs, reaching back toward, your hands are reaching back toward your feet. And then you'll move from the back armpit to the front armpit to lift that chest up and reach those fingers back toward your feet alongside your body. So the shoulders are lifting up, you're moving the back armpit to front armpit and lifting, and then your inner thighs of your back leg lift up toward the ceiling. So your pubic bone is pressing down into the floor and lifting up off that. So back armpit to the front armpit, shoulders rolling back toward where the fingers are extending away and lifting the inner thighs toward the ceiling. And then come down and rest. And when you rest, cross your arms and rest your forehead on your forearms. And then we'll do this pose a second time. So reach your arms back, so your fingers are lengthening toward your feet and your palms are facing the ceiling. And then start to lift your chest, moving your back armpit to your front armpit, lift the inner thighs toward the ceiling, extend through your inner heel big toe mound, and bring that little toe side back to those outer hips. And grip those outer hip, outer buttock in. Lifting, 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 lifting. And then down and rest again, your forehead on your forearms. So the next pose is called Dhanurasana. So we're going to do one half at a time. So first, take your left arm and cross your forearm across the front of your body and reach your right arm back and grab your ankle. Now, if you're not able to grab your ankle, you can have a strap there or a necktie or something to hold on to the strap around your foot. Otherwise, grab the ankle. And then we're just doing half at a time. So the back armpit to front armpit work that we've been doing is happening here, and it's really nice because the arm pulling back gives you more access to that happening. So use your foot as leverage to pull that arm back and then move from the back armpit to the front armpit as you reorganize that shoulder being pulled back. And the shoulder blade reorganization. And then release. And then I'm going to turn around. You don't need to turn. I'm going to turn around so you can see my left side equally as well. Now the right forearm is in front, and then the left hand reaches back to that left leg. Grab the ankle. And then pull that ankle back. The whole leg. Pull that whole leg back. Pulling the shoulder back. Moving that action from the back armpit to the front armpit again. And again, that shoulder pulling back is so lovely because you can really focus on that movement of the shoulder blade going into the back as you're moving from your back armpit to your front armpit and up and over the shoulder. And then we'll release that. Rest on your forearms again. Rest your forehead. we'll try Dhanurasana with both legs. So you'll bend your legs, reach your arms back, grab your ankles, and then use the leverage of your legs to pull the chest open, feeling the spreading of your front body and pulling those shoulders back and moving from the back armpit to the front armpit, and soften your face. Opening that chest. Shoulder blades go deeply into the back as they move forward for that back armpit to front armpit action, and then release. And then we'll do one more of these, but rest your head for a moment. And then once again, bend the legs, take your hands to your ankles, and use the leverage of those legs to lift your front body up. Lift those thighs up off the floor. Pulling those shoulders back, lifting that front body, moving from the back armpit to the front armpit, up and over the shoulders, and then come on down. Rest your forehead on your forearms. And then we'll do Adho Mukha Svanasana. Downward facing dog is a nice neutral pose to do after back bending before we move on to other poses. So we're going to do Adho Mukha Svanasana with legs a bit wider than usual. So you'll take your feet to the outer edges of your mat to allow for a spreading of the low back. And then your hands shoulder width apart and lengthening. Lengthening from the pointer finger mound pressing down, lengthening through the inner shoulder up toward the hips, and just allow that head to release. Extend through the inner heels toward the floor. Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog. Just allowing that low back to spread wide from the spine out toward the sides. Another way to say it is spreading from the inside out on that low back. And then come down to all fours. We'll do that pose one more time. Okay, this time before you start, press through the pointer finger mounds down. So you're moving from the little finger side of the hand toward the pointer finger mound side and the thumb mound. Curl the toes under a little wider, quite a bit wider than usual actually. Use the edges of your mat. Take your feet toward the edges of your mat. And then curl the toes under and lift up. And lengthen from the pointer finger mound up through the inner shoulders, up to the hips, and then extend the heels toward the floor. And allow that head to just let go, the back of the neck to let go. And then we'll come on down to all fours again. So our next pose is a twist that we can do in a chair. So if you have a dining room chair or a folding chair, you can use that. And let's have the back of the chair face the video. And we'll start out facing the right side. And so you'll scoot yourself all the way across the back of the chair, and then your heel is right underneath your knees. So the heels are right underneath the knees. And then press through the inner heel, big toe mound, and then lift the sternum up and shoulders down. So we're working that back armpit to front armpit, shoulders going down, which will continue as we twist. So I lengthen through the crown of my head, and on my exhalation, turn toward the back of the chair. So as I twist, I take my outer left hip toward the floor, or the outer, depending upon how you're sitting. The chair that the hip that you're turning away from, you'll go toward the floor and then twist. So shoulders away from the ears, lifting that front armpit chest and twisting. And then draw back the two sides of the navel as you twist. This helps get the twist a little lower in the back as well. So shoulders away from the ears. And you don't want to strain the neck. So the neck is just sort of the natural extension of what the torso is doing. Soften the muscles on the face. And then slowly unwind. And then we'll swivel to the other side, scooting ourselves to the back of the chair. Again, heels under the knees. Press through the inner heel, big toe mound. Lift and lengthen through the crown of the head. Move the back armpit to the front armpit. And on your next exhalation, turn toward the back of the chair. Again, drawing the space back behind the navel as you twist. Again, thinking of the back armpit to front armpit, shoulders down. And then the hip that you're turning away from is going toward the floor. It tends to lift up there a bit. So soften the face. And then again, do not strain your neck, but allow your neck to go where the torso naturally takes it. And then slowly unwind. And we'll do one more side, or one more time on each side. So going back to the first side, heels underneath the knees, lifting up the torso, and on your exhalation, turn toward the back of the chair. Draw back the two sides of the navel as you rotate. Cut the outer hip down of the hip that you're turning away from. Think of the action that we did with our arm on the wall, so that back armpit to front armpit that we did at the wall. Shoulders away from the ears, soften the face. Feeling those ribs turning. Shoulder blades in the back, working into the back, helping to lift and broaden the chest. And slowly unwind into the other side. Heels right under the knees, lift through the crown of the head, and turn toward the back of the chair. Cut that outer the outer hip that's away, that you're turning away from. Cut it toward the floor. Draw back the navel, turn the ribs. Shoulders away from the ears. Again, thinking of your hand on the wall, moving the back armpit to front armpit to bring that shoulder down. And then allow your head to be fairly neutral, just following the action of the torso. Soften the face and slowly unwind. So this next pose is called Chatushpadasana. So first watch. I lie down on my back, walk my feet close to my buttocks, and then begin to flow the shoulders to the hands, and then lift my buttocks up and roll the shoulder under, and lift the buttocks up toward the ceiling, taking the outer thighs up toward the ceiling as well. So here we can really experience that back armpit to front armpit and rolling those shoulders under. Okay, so when I come on out, I unroll the shoulders and roll down, and then we'll do it together. So start on your back, lengthen the back of your skull away from your shoulders, Walk your feet into your buttocks. And then when you lift your buttocks up toward the ceiling, roll your shoulder under, and lengthen those hands toward the feet. Lift your buttocks up toward the ceiling, lift your outer thighs toward the ceiling, and soften your inner thighs. So see if you can experience that back armpit to front armpit that we've been working on, muscularly lifting your buttocks up, the outer thighs roll up toward the ceiling, and soften the inner thighs. You're pressing through your inner heel and big toe mound. And then we'll come on down, unroll the shoulders, and we'll do it one more time together. Okay, so walk your feet into your buttocks. Gently lengthen the back of your skull away. Lift your buttocks up, roll your shoulder under, If your hands happen to be at your ankles here, you can grab onto your ankles, lift up from there. If not, you just do it the same way we did it before. Move from that back armpit to front armpit as your buttocks lifts up toward the ceiling, the outer thighs up toward the ceiling. Soften the face. Chaturasana, four-footed pose. And then we'll slowly come out, moving from the top of the back down, allowing the tailbone to come down last. And then you'll roll to your side to come up. Here's the part of the video that if you practice Salamba Sarvangasana, you'll pause the video, do Sarvangasana, and then come back and pick up here. So our next pose is called Viparita Karani, inverted lake pose. So first I'll show you and then you can get into it. So I go to my side and I scoot my buttocks into the wall, and then I put my shoulder down and I roll up. So this can be a pose that you stay in just like this. If you want to go a little bit higher, you can put a block or a pillow or something under you to lift and make more of an inversion. So there's one block like that. If you want to go a little bit higher, you can lift up and put a second block under there, or some higher blankets. Walk the shoulders in a little bit more. We're really getting to experience the back armpit to front armpit in this pose. Okay, so then to come on out, I put my feet on the wall, lift up, take a block out, and then roll down. And so now it's your turn. So you'll scoot yourself to the wall, scooting your buttocks all the way till you touch the wall, and then roll the shoulder down and roll yourself up. Again, if you want to stay right here, you can do that, or put your feet on the wall, lift your buttocks up, and put the block under your hips. And if you want a little higher, you can go a little higher. If you're a little higher, you got to walk the shoulders under a little bit more. Extend through the inner heel, big toe mound. And so this pose, Viparita Karani, means inverted lake pose. Your abdomen becomes the lake, soft and still. And your face is completely relaxed as well. The shoulders are turned under slightly. The higher your hips are lifted up, the more you'll take the shoulders under slightly. Gently lengthen the back of your skull away and soften the face. So even though your abdomen is relaxed and your face is relaxed, you're working your legs. You're extending through the inner knees, inner heels, inner big toe mound up toward the ceiling. And then the little toe side of your feet lengthens back down toward your outer hips. And you can just soften your face. This pose is a great pose for just before bed. You can either have the height like this or just flat on the floor. The pose is calming on the nervous system, getting you ready for bed. If you're not getting ready for bed, it's just a lovely way to calm the nervous system.
pose is also lovely with blankets under you as well. So blankets, some firm blankets are best, like a Mexican blanket. And then if your eyes are closed, gently open your eyes. Bend your legs, put your feet on the floor, lift up, and take your blocks out if you have anything underneath you. Unwalk the shoulders a little bit, and then roll to the side, allowing your head to stay fully supported by the floor. You were just in an inversion, so you want to come out slowly. And then we'll move into Shavasana.
So our final pose is Shavasana. If you would like to have a slight something under your head, you can put a blanket down for your head. And then you lie down, and when you lie down, your shoulders are not in the blanket at all, it's only the head. So you lengthen the back of the skull away gently, the shoulders are away from the ears, and then take your buttocks away from your low back, lengthen a leg out, and then a second leg out, and then allow the legs to splay to the side. And then if you need to lengthen your low back more, you can grab the edge of the mat and drag down a little bit. And then palms face the ceiling. And close your eyes. Sometimes after working that hard, it takes a little while to start to let go. So start at the top of your head and calm or relax the muscles in your forehead, beginning in between your eyebrows and letting go down toward your temples, and from your temples to the floor. Soften the muscles around your cheeks. Unhinge your lower jaw from your upper jaw, allowing for a little bit of space between your upper and lower teeth, and keeping the lips slightly sealed.
Soften your neck and throat and your shoulders all the way down to your half-open hands. Soften your chest. Soften your abdomen. Soften your hips all the way down to your feet, flowing through the inner thighs, the inner knees, the inner heel, and then allow the ankles to just splay to the side, completely letting go. On your next exhalation, imagine that you can just melt right into the floor. And then to begin to come out of Shavasana, bend your arms, put your hands onto your front body. Bend your left leg, put your foot on the floor. Draw your right arm up and over your head. That right arm becomes a bit of a pillow. As you push off your left leg, roll to your right side. Draw your knees together for comfort. Try to remain in a state of Shavasana. As you roll the top shoulder down, so you can push yourself up with two hands.
Namaste.